Alright guys, welcome back to the Regal Gentleman YouTube channel at the Hunter Collective. Today we've got Joe in the chair. Now me and Joe have just had a chat and he went in 2 weeks ago, wasn't it? You said for a haircut, yeah. So we went in 2 weeks ago. So this is Joe's story, what he told me. So we went in 2 weeks ago for a haircut. He asked for a skin fade. And what he said was, or you can say it in your own words if you want, Joe, but summarising what Joe said was that it wasn't happy with it because it wasn't particularly blended into your liking or to how well you think it could have done. Yeah. What they done was they shaved it really high on this side. So as you can see, he's got that very kind of, it's really, really high up to the round of the head there. And it's just basically just been left, so basically not blended in. So, but this side has, as you can see, it's got a bit of a blend on it. So essentially what we've got now, we've got this quite sort of asymmetric haircut that isn't really going to balance for Joe. Now the thing is with Joe as well, what he said was he wants to grow his hair out as well. This isn't going to help him, unfortunately. When you've got such an asymmetric haircut going on, when you've got two sides that are totally uneven. Now, I mean, if I just pick it up with my comb, or even, do you know what, I'll just do it with my fingers, it might be easy to see. There's where that side ends, and there's where that side ends. So as you can see, there's a really big asymmetry going on there. Now, when you're growing a haircut out, you want to balance it because it grows out balanced and it grows out easier to style. So even though today what we'll do with Joe's, what I was thinking was, is we'll give him a skin fade. Low, you don't want it too high like the last one, do you? So you want it quite low. Perfect, because then we start building weight through here. Now, when you're growing your haircut out and you want to grow it out and you don't really have an end goal, because a lot of guys, I always try and tell guys to have an end goal, because it's so much easier for me to cut it towards that goal. And it's also easier when, like say Joe, for example, has got this image that he's like, right, I want my hair to look like that. Now, obviously, based on hair texture, type, whatever, we'll try and get it as close to that as possible. But what it helps to do is it gives him something to aim towards without cutting it off. Because I know I'm the same. When I grow my hair, I get to about, I don't know, 3 months, and I'm like, nah, I just look stupid. So I'm going to get it cut short. But then if I've got that end goal in mind, and I've got a barber who knows what my end goal is, I can just text them and go, look, I want to come in for a haircut, I'm going to shave it off, I'm going to cut short. Should I not do that, or should I do that, you know? And then that way I think the balance works quite well. But what I want to do today is, I want to try and connect the sides, and now it's going to be a bit of an ask, but by keeping that skin fade low, I want to try and keep all of this length through here. I don't want to go over that at all, because what you want to do is when you're growing it out as well, is you want to start building weight through these corners, because that way you start to balance the top. So the top's got somewhere to fall into without it just looking like a top heavy haircut. So just hair here, nothing else. Now, that's what I want to try and do for Joe today. It's going to be a bit of a challenge just because of how high this is. Now, I know if you're watching any of the previous videos, or if you're just a first time viewer, what I always say is when I'm working through the what we call the round of the head here, so where the comb, so you go the comb on straight like that, and then we go to the top of the head like that. There's the round of the head where it sits on that kind of that angle there, like that, right? So what I always try and do is I do a horseshoe section at the round of the head to allow me a point here to blend the top into. Now, what I've always said in most of the past videos is I always try and leave enough length that I can pick through my fingers through here. And that way, I know I can always connect the top in. So if I can bring it into my fingers there and there's length underneath, I can connect it no matter, well, not no matter what length it is, but most of the time, most haircuts on the top you can do. I haven't got that length through my fingers here. So I'm worried that if you look at this side, if I try and connect this, I'd need a bit of length. I can just about get through my fingers to bring this down and connect. Now, I reckon it might be okay, because I don't know if I've got a guide. I've got a slight guide through my fingers there as well. So that's what I want to try and do. I want to try and find that point, isolate the fringe, just bring that across, leave his fringe longer, and just try and connect this into it. It's got some sort of balance to it. So that's the aim today, is what I want to do. And just go through the top and just make sure it's kind of even. Like I did say to Joe, I'll try and keep as much length on the top as I can, but I'd really like to just balance it for you. I know you might go shorter, but sometimes taking that length off will actually grow out better, all right, than trying to grow out this now, because you'll end up it'll just keep doing this, and then it'll get really long this side and really short, and it won't balance throughout. Maybe, you know, if your goal is like say 3 months time or 4 months time, you'll get to a point where you'll be stuck and you'll end up getting quite a lot off. Whereas if I do it now, the pain for pleasure now, prevention over cure, that kind of idea, I think might be a good idea to do. Okay. All right. So yeah, what I'll do is I'm going to give it a wash and condition, and then I'm going to start with the skin fade back and sides. Let's get that base, let's get that kind of haircut done. Let's get what he wants today done. So his skin fade low, and then that way we can work through the top and we can kind of work section by section that way as well. All right, I'm quite lucky really because I pick my own timings, so I can pick whether I want an hour, 45 minutes, half an hour. Yeah. Whereas, you know, I've worked in places many times in the past where that isn't the case. Yeah. So it is kind of hard to have that conversation when you might have, like, you know, 3, 4, 5 people waiting for you in your shop, and you know, it is hard to take that much time up, you know what I mean? So, understandable. Right guys, so I've just shampooed and conditioned Joe's hair. Now I can really see what we're doing, what we need to do today. Now if you look at Joe's growth pattern on the top, it's quite a lot of space here, which has been taken quite short, and it almost grows almost like this angle over that way. See, look at that, it almost grows like that. So I'm gonna obviously still work with it. We're not gonna take too much at the top, but it's just good to know when it grows out. You know, if Joe becomes one of my clients, then I'll remember how his hair grows and I'll be able to work with that throughout the space of, or the course of what we're going to do with the top, for example. So I've just combed it all out. I'm going to start with my 0 line straight away. I'm not needing to do the 2 because the length I want to keep is here. So I want to work the 0 into this length. So I'm going to start with my 0 and then work up into this length. I think the skin will be good for about here, and then we'll graduate up, because that way I've got a decent blend of area to leave to the top here as well. So I'm using my Oster. I'm going to drop this down as well. Look, it's very visual when you're doing a line like this. You just make sure you're looking in the mirror, you're using the mirror to match the lines up, just for that even symmetrical fade. So a little bit of structure to this temple here. What I'll do by just sharpening off this, it just sharpens the fade as well. It really shows the fade off a little bit more, just by detailing that temple area. I'm not going to cut into his hairline, just going to detail the temple. Just working my mini clippers up into my 0. Just sharpen off this temple area, just to strengthen this hairline a bit more, really make that fade kind of pop a little bit more as well. Just working that up and off into the minis. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start working up into what is there, basically, what is that blend, and just try and go over that a little bit as well. So I want to try and work up to about here and try and leave the majority of this length here as well. Alright, so I'm going to work down from my 1.5 into that 0. I'm just making sure I'm coming up and off at the point of imagining there's a 2 there, for example. So I'm working up, so a nice rocking motion, making sure the clip is going in and then coming off. And I'm just going to work down the lever until I get down to the 1. There we go. Take that 1 guard off, open blade, leave it down, I'm working up into where my 1 finished. Kind of trying to keep as much length through this round of the head here as possible. Just using the corner of my half, go over any of the darker areas that I see. There we go. So that's starting to blend down nicely. So what we've done is managed to keep the length through here and just working down. You see yourself in the mirror there. Nice and low for you, but just starting to get that transition into kind of being able to balance that top out as well. All right. Making up and off into that 1. Seeing the consistent movement of the clipper. Now I'm using different mini clippers on this because these aren't as short as my other ones. So these are just right in between my 000 Oster blade and the Wall Heroes. So they're just right in the middle, in between that. So that's why I'm using that, just to go over that little gap between the minis and the clippers. Just going to go slightly over that, just to make sure that it's all perfectly working into that length. So I'm just using a size 1 comb and my thinner pair of scissors, just to make sure we're working that one into that length. And as you can see, as I'm working up and off, nothing comes through the comb because I'm looking to maintain that length. So in the time of us doing the clipper work, the top is dry, okay? Now that's good because I want to see exactly how this is going to fall. So as you can see, if I just aim that towards you, Liam, see, very heavy through the fringe, so I wouldn't mind breaking that up a little bit and just making sure everything's level all the way across, okay? So obviously we can leave more length at the fringe, but I want to make sure the fringe is the same length, is actually a little bit longer, sorry, than the back bit here, which doesn't look like it is. So I'm going to do this dry, because again, this is such a visual way of doing it. When you cut it wet, as they say, you cut it blind. So I'm really wanting to make sure that this is sitting right. So I'm looking at this now. If I pull this fringe straight up and out, there's a little section behind that. As you can see, when I pull that back, there's the fringe, and there's a section there. So I want to make sure that's level, all right? So I'm going to cut this, so I'm going to point cut it, but on a very acute, on a very harsh angle, to keep it still with a little bit of blunt element to it as well. So not going too far in and breaking it up, because it's got that kind of fine texture, so I want to make sure that we're keeping it quite solid and quite blunt, but I don't want to cut it too blunt neither. So this is the compromise. So as we get here, this is kind of all right length through here. That's okay, that's okay, that's a little bit long. There we go. Again, the same this side. Bring that right up. There's that little length I want to cut. I'm just making sure we even this out. We'll bring this back to the recession, cut that length that's hanging over. Now this is the beauty of having little hands, is that you have little fingers, and I can actually help you on this haircut. Oh God, it's the only time these little hands have ever come in handy, mate, I'll tell you. Now this side is where we're going to start taking more length off. See, there's the guide, there's that length coming through here. So as you can see now, it starts to level out a little bit towards this back bit, so I don't need to cut that. Don't cut it for the sake of doing it. That's fine. And this is the side that's going to be really long. This is where the overhang is, okay? So, bring it back to the recession point, and using that guide there underneath. Getting some sort of connection in there. Now I'm going to go over that scissor over comb as well. So I'm switching to my largest scissor, and I'm going to move that fringe away, and I'm just going to start working through this just to try and connect that top bit in there. I'm just trying to get as best a connection as I possibly can. Let's start with the balance a bit more. Now working into the crown as well. Again, like we said, we're going to take a little bit of length off, but just enough that still balances. There we go. Right, now I need to sort this fringe out as well. So as you see, this side of this fringe on the left, just put the finger where that finishes there, so where that finishes there. See, it's quite off as well, so I want to match that up as well, okay? So I'm going to take a section through here. We've got a little bit of an angle there, so we'll cut that through. And this will start to layer this fringe in nicely. And take away any little bit of extra length that doesn't need to be there. I'm just cutting this blunt. So that's starting to balance out nicely. And then just working freehand. And now I'm going to break this fringe up by point cutting into it to help thin this out. And make the section behind it as well, just point cut into it. So that fringe is a lot more balanced out now. And I think that's all we need to do really. Because again, we're trying to grow this out, aren't we? So I want to try and take minimal length at the top, but just try and connect both sides, and so it's a bit easier for Joe to style as it grows out. So I didn't want to take too much length off because I still want to leave you with a bit of length on the top, but I've just done my best to balance both sides, all right? So as you can see, before you put anything in this, Liam, I just want to turn the camera to you a little bit. So as you can see now, it's still very front heavy, but that's nice because it's going to bring it up and over. But as you can see, I've connected in both sides, so he hasn't got that heavy overhang now. And I don't know about you, but that looks much better. So I'll put a little bit of the Regal Gentleman matte clay in there, because I think a dry matte finish for your hair is great. And it'll just give a lot of versatility as well throughout the day. So I will use that for you. So I'm just going to use a little, like again, a pea-size amount of this. You see, I'm going to work it through my hands, through the fingers as well, rub that right in. So it starts to go a little bit more clear. There we go. And then I'm just going to work it through, starting from the back to the front, just working all the way through his hair. I'm not overloading his hair with any product. All I'm doing is just giving him a little bit of boost to create this sort of natural finish for him. And just not limiting you to having to wear it over to one side. The fringe can still come over, the back would be quite nice, a little bit more loose, a bit more natural as well. How's that look for you, mate? Yeah. Happy with that, yeah? Yeah, cool, thanks man. So to recap, as we, the haircut at the start was a little bit asymmetric. One side was higher than the other, one side was blended in higher than the other as well. So Joe wants to grow the top out. He doesn't have an end goal yet, which is fine, but he wasn't kind of happy with the way it was cut. So what I did was I gave him a haircut that was going to grow out easier, just by balancing the whole top, really. That will, again, if it's balanced, it'll grow out the same pace, the same length, and also it'll grow out in the same style as well from what was cutting now. So it's not going to grow in like a sort of side part or anything like that at all. I just want to give him a bit of longevity to this as well. Hopefully, with it being even and growing out easier, he'll be less likely to cut it shorter as well. So he will actually go through with his intentions. And then we just done a low skin fade around the back of his sides to freshen this look up and make it look as though it was a really fresh haircut. It's meant to be like this for when he left the shop. Keeping it quite low as well. So I didn't take anything off here, just because I wanted to keep that as heavy as possible, just to balance this haircut as it grows out as well. So thinking ahead, if I go too high here, then what he's going to be left with is just very heavy top, where you start to balance the sides, so the top starts to almost kind of have somewhere for it to sit into as well, and kind of balance as well. So yeah, we did that, and then we started a little bit of Regal Gentleman matte clay, good for his hair type, a little bit of a finer texture, so it works to give a bit more of a thicker feel and a thicker boost to the hair as well, and it's also pliable as well. So yeah, that was it. Happy, yeah? Cool, perfect. Thanks guys.